Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the entire world who's watching in on LinkedIn Live right now, and those who are on Spotify. Thank you for tuning into our channel. This week is going to be interesting because both Adrian, myself, and Yen on the Adrian and Yen Career Success Show is going to share with you lots of interesting secrets about how to learn a job faster. So,
good morning, everyone.
Once again, Yen is here. Yen, good morning. How are you?
I am great. It's Friday. Don't you just love Fridays?
I love Fridays. Fridays are fun. It's the reason why we go to work on Monday. Just look forward to Fridays. But
that's funny.
It's been a crazy week for many of us, and I think that one of the coolest things is that we all just came out from a very nice couple of holidays, from Christmas to New Year to Chinese New Year. But the downside to it is the next holiday is going to be in April.
The downside to having a holiday is having to go on diet. and that's always going to be a lot harder than anything else. Yes, we're all trying to lose our holiday weight here. Cheers.
I know. Cheers as well. But one thing interesting about this period of time as well in February, especially in March, is that a lot of people who have collected their bonuses have decided to leave their companies. And after you collect your bonus and leave the company, you leave a big gaping hole in the organization. And what happens? The companies have to fill it, right? And hence...
it could be seasonal, which is something that used to always happen. But you know what? I'm not a big fan of trends. I still think that you should job search and you should keep looking, even despite the seasons. It's one of those habits that I think you should always have and continue doing. Always have an ear on the ground for job opportunities. But you're right, it is seasonal. I think everyone's looking for a new change or opportunity to promote or to accelerate their career. So that's why we have our topic today.
Yeah, that's why it's hiring season, and that's why a lot of people are looking out for jobs, and they're in job hunting mode. And we don't do job hunting topics very often because it's there's so much information already out there, isn't it?
Yeah, and some of that wisdom online, guys, seriously, the wisdom online is generic, it's high level, it's stereotypical, and it gets me a little bit peevish. You're like, oh, it's so easy to land a job, just network, but they don't tell you how.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't tell you today either, because we can tell you some things, but everything's going to be contextual. So we're going to do our best. And if you have any questions, please pop it into the chat and then we'll try and answer them.
Yeah, please do that. I'm hoping today might be ask us anything kind of thing. And we want to say good morning to Eric, to Saifan, and to Deb as well. Deb, always happy to see you on a Friday morning. So one of the things about job hunting is that one question for you, Yen. Some people say that if you are in job hunting mode, it's actually almost like a full-time job. Is that true?
Yes, and just like anything that's worth doing, you have to focus and you have to make time for it. It's almost like a full-time job, but you know what? I think time is very elastic. And I think if you are the type that says, I'm too busy, I think that's just an excuse. Sorry, just gonna go there. It's just an excuse. I'm too busy.
Elaborate. What do you mean by that?
I get a lot of, so, okay, one very simple example, right? And one of the benefits of networking is that you get a chance to talk to people, to learn more about the environment, the industry, or any interesting tidbits and insider information that's going to help you land a job. So you have to network, but a lot of people go, oh, I'm too busy to network. I've got no time. That's an excuse. It's not because you're too busy. It's because you don't enjoy the networking process.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
And we're going to share with our listeners today a little bit more about how to do the networking, what to talk about, who to talk to, and what to say. But one of the things is this, if job hunting is a full-time job, okay, so to speak, but I'm already in a full-time job and I'm looking out for a job, how can I handle two? How do I time balance the two? Yeah.
I have a very quick answer to that. Okay, so the most business hours are 10 to 12, 2 to 6. If you think about it, business meetings and all that start being very busy. So busy times 10 to 12 and 2 to 6. maybe 2 to 5
Mhm.
because happy hour. So networking time and job search time would be before 9 a.m., lunch
Mhm.
hours, and evening hours would be the times that you would spend in inversely proportional, inverse to the time that other people are busy working. I mean, you don't want to do networking at 10 because no one's going to be available to take your call.
That's
But
true, right?
that's just a simple example of
Yeah.
a quick hack. So if you are in job search mode and you are
Mhm.
in a full-time job, you actually can make time. You
Yeah,
can.
and so what you're saying is carve out pockets of time to make the effort rather than, oh, by the way, I think I'm free now, so let's just spend 5 minutes doing this. But it has to be actually making a conscious effort of it, right?
A little bit more focused. I mean, think about how you do your LinkedIn timing, Adrian. Well, I mean, what
Hmm.
are your LinkedIn? What time of the day do you pop into LinkedIn to network?
I normally pop in the mornings, and you're right. In between in between activities, basically. So
In
between
between
my
core business hours,
coaching
exactly.
sessions, yeah, correct, right? So I got pop in, I drop a note or two. I say hi to people whom I just remember, and just reach out to them. So yeah, you're right. It's ultimately it does not need to occupy your full day activities, but
Yeah,
and the little things add up to a lot, doesn't it?
it does. And seriously, think about it, guys. Do you seriously work 8 hours a day, full on without breaks? No, I mean actual productive hours. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
actual productive hours is maybe 2 to 4 hours out of the 8 hours, right? If you're sitting at your
uh,
at your laptop, you're not always going to be running at full speed the entire time because that's not sustainable. There will be peaks, there'll be trials, and you carve out time. Not to say, I mean, again, reference to your topic on radio yesterday, Adrian, that was a very good topic on time theft.
time
I
theft, time
mean,
theft.
we're not taking away from our core business activity
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
because tea time, tea break, toilet time, commuting time. There's always time.
There's always time. That's why we need to carve out time. And ultimately, what we're saying is, you owe it to yourself to always be plugged in to see where the latest opportunities are. And one of the things we always say that if you really want to get a more effective uh, results from your job search itself, it's just stop spamming. Stop spamming.
Yeah.
Spamming in the sense that you're applying for everything that you see, and you just click on it and you just go apply for it. It's not effective, and it can get quite depressing, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially if you are not getting any response, and you
Hmm.
start to think that there's something wrong with you rather than the environment or your methodology or your strategy. So work smart. Don't spam because you don't just create the impression that you're desperate, which is very unhealthy. The
Hmm.
organizations are going to blacklist you after a while, and then you'll have all these emotional
Mm.
problems thinking that there's something wrong with you when there's nothing at all wrong with you.
Yeah, I know that's right. So what we actually recommend is don't spray and pray. It doesn't really work as well, and it's very depressing. And it's not effective. Okay, and especially more so if you're pretty senior. One of the biggest hacks we tell people to focus your time and energy on opportunities that are more realistic. Okay, so
Yes.
that's what we are looking at. And spray and pray is not a good method. And there's another method which I always talk about as well. It's called tag and bag. Tag and Tag and back means you look for headhunters, you tag them, and then you go, hey, hi, how are you, and everything. By the way, do you have a job for me? You just go outreach back. Headhunters don't work for you.
Yeah,
They don't.
exactly. And talent acquisition will not view you positively
Mhm.
because you're coming across as like slightly needy.
Yeah.
And as we all know, if you've ever been in a situation where you've had to evaluate a candidate, the
Mhm.
guy that's just trying too hard, it's just something off about that person, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, it's good to
you
try and be enthusiastic, but if you're applying for every role that comes up in a company, from the sales manager to the marketing manager to the ops manager, it's like, oh, okay, it's not, it's this person. Something, you're right, something's off.
something's off, and we genuinely feel like maybe something you're not telling me everything,
Mm.
and I might, given the red flag and given the fact that I don't know you well, I don't
Mhm.
feel like I can trust you. So I might go with another candidate who maybe has, a calmer disposition.
Cover this position. Yeah, Interestingly, we just had a comment from Michael. And yeah, please, anyone has a comment, just please jump in and show us. Okay, I'm trying to click on the show comment for Michael Warren. Michael, how are you? Good morning this morning. Anyway, I'm trying to flash it up. Yeah, he says, okay, you guys say it's a seasonal thing that we all need to keep the fingers on the rolls out there. But corporates, MNCs, who keep their recruitment companies alive, provide stability to people and families and the country. You are recommending be always in job search mode. It helps your business, but not your clients. Thanks for the comment, Michael. The question is, who are our clients?
No, that's not the question.
Not the recruitment firms, not the MNCs. What
Yeah.
do you think he means by that? Mike, clarify. But what do you think, Ian?
No, I want to clarify not so much the comment about keeping our business alive, but everyone is, that's what capitalism is. But hang on, let's look at it in an equation that is a little bit less linear, and that's very important. So listen, it's not about supply equals demand and that there's there are people on the ground, therefore there's jobs available, then we'll just throw those people in. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not a straightforward equation. So keeping a finger on the pulse, what I mean by that is that as an individual, you are responsible for managing your own career. The companies are not going to look after you, even though they say they would. And sometimes there is that contract of agreement that the company might develop you, in which case you stay. But if you find that you've outgrown your job, it is well within your right to look out. And you should, because then you get a chance to grow and achieve your goals, your own professional goals. And I think that's a healthy thing for the company, because then there's progression, there's growth, there's people, that there is perhaps a change in the DNA. Things happen. Nothing stays static forever. So if you're saying that the stability lasts forever, then I think that might be naive. I think you have to consider that people will get promoted, companies will eat one another, there will be disruptions. And so what do you do as a person? I mean, if you're happy in your role and things are going great, by all means, stay, and then it's stable. But that equilibrium is tenuous. And so having an ear on the ground doesn't mean you're going to leave. Yeah. It just means that you're going to know what's going on.
In fact, what we always say is always be on the lookout for your next role, because it is very presumptuous to assume that the company is always going to have your interest on the next role. So, for all our listeners out there, we actually tell you, have that backup plan just in case, because you never know what's going to hit you. And, the old days of iron rice bowls are gone. Okay. You really need to have that exit plan, exit strategy just in case. Or sometimes there's a better, more fun role comes along, and you don't want to miss out on that as well. That could be the excitement that you've been looking for. So always be on the lookout.
And of course we'll qualify that again. We'll definitely qualify that, because there's all sorts of timelines in life, right? When you're young, you're always looking to accelerate. But then at some point in your 30s and maybe in your early 40s, you might want to just stabilize for a while your life, you have life goals, right? Because you've got kids or you've got mortgages. And then at some point you hit a crossroad. And again, that pattern happens. At that crossroad level, you're thinking, is that all there is? There must be something more. What do I do?
Sure.
But if you're not networking, if you're not looking out, then you get a little bit insulated. And that might be depressing. So again, no obligations, please. If it's take every advice with some.
I love it. No. But you see, the point also is this. Don't kill yourself for your job. Okay. And that's why you must always look for something else, because sometimes if you stay in a job for too long, and I know employers are not going to like us saying this, but we don't care. Sometimes you stay in a job for too long. Okay, you get taken for granted. More and more stuff comes in, and sometimes you just ask yourself, why am I dying for the company? Why am I killing myself? Sometimes there might be something else that's more fun, a better alternative. So always look after number one, which is yourself and your key stakeholders. Who are your key stakeholders? Yourself, your family members, your health, your bank account. Okay, so those are Just like
I also want
mistake
to
I
ask you, Adrian, in the
yeah.
years that you were
Uh-huh.
headhunting, have you ever had a candidate that you couldn't place because they were too long in one organization?
Oh yeah, lots
So
of it. Especially you are
I'll
in
confess. Yeah, I had
yeah,
a client who was in a financial institution, kind of not, it's kind of like a payments type
yeah.
role, 21 years in that organization. I found him very
Wow.
hard to, I found him very hard to place.
Yeah.
I
It
think
is
a lot
tough.
of,
Especially if you're in a company which has a very strong corporate culture. Okay, without naming names like IBM or those stuff. I'm not naming any
right.
company names like Pfizer or those guys. Okay, so where the corporate culture is so strong, it's very hard. Sometimes the clients will tell me, "Hey, look, I don't want guys from this company because they are too fixed in their ways." Okay, so it does affect you
Sometimes.
sometimes, unfortunately. Yeah, but I don't want to mention any names. But
Which you
we have
did.
another. I got a very good question from Anthony as well. Anthony, good morning. Uh, Kian, is the cover letter worth writing? You know my point of view, but I want to hear your point of view on this one. Is a cover letter?
Nine, yeah, my answer, the quick answer is 99% of the time, no. But there is that 1% where it might be required, especially if you're in a different market, different country, and the practices require one. So there's a very, okay, I better not mention. So it's a story I was just thinking of, but there are organizations where you have to write a cover letter, but they're very rare. And so my answer, again, I'm going to take a step back. If you're asking yourself these questions, and you're thinking, should I do A or should I do B? Should I write a cover letter or should I just do an email? Or should I get a referral? Or should I get someone to try and introduce me internally? And if you're asking yourself, do I apply for job A or job B? For example, there's another conundrum here. If one organization has two roles, do I submit an application for both roles? Or should I submit just one and then I have to make a choice? It's like Sophie's choice. So what do I do? Every time you ask yourself something like that, just take a step back and go, what would work better? So the more information you have, the better your strategy. So that's all I have. So if you can find out internally if the talent acquisition is centralized, then please do not apply for both roles. If you find out that the culture requires a cover letter, then by all means, please write one.
Yeah. And also, what goes into the cover letter? What's really interesting from my point of view. Whenever I'm asked a question, should I write a cover letter or are cover letters useful anymore? Cover letters are a throwback to the old days when you had to mail your CVs in, and without any context whatsoever. Okay, so your dear sir, I'm applying with regard to this particular job, and this where you had to print your CV, print a cover letter, put it in an envelope, lick a stamp. You remember what stamps are, right? And then you got to mail off so that when the person opens up, they go, "Oh, the cover letter explains the CV." So you see, what you need to think about is nowadays we just send an email across, right? So technically, your email is the cover letter, and the objective of the cover letter covering email is to just give them enough context for them to want to open your CV. Okay, if there's no context, you just send in without, they're not going to open the CV. So your cover letter covering email has to be short, sweet, to the point. Just very briefly explain why you need to open. So it's almost like a lead generation approach. So why it's relevant. So and yeah, and I keep telling people this. My biggest pet peeve is cover letters that seem longer than the CV itself. Two-page cover
Uh,
letters.
I, it's so long, no one's going to read it. We don't have the time or the interest,
Yeah.
especially if we've got tons of other emails to read. And I'm going to give a very quick tip. Okay, please do not write dear sir, madam anymore, please. And the last thing you want to do is to whom it may concern. That's the worst salutation ever. So dear and then hiring manager or dear recruiter, please, because today
Find
we
the
are
person's name would be
non-binary.
nice, right?
Today some people are they identify differently. So sir,
Yeah.
ma'am might not go down well anymore.
But
So
if you
that's a
know the
very quick
person's
tip.
name is good, dear Roger or
Yes,
dear, yeah, then that personalizes it a lot. Not like dear sir slash madam slash. So you cannot, personalize it as much as you can, and
yeah,
it's useful to stand out from the crowd because everyone's gonna go dear recruiter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, that's good. That's okay. Thanks. If anyone has any more questions, you can just pop in. Uh, one the other thing that we want to advise you on is a productivity hack. Besides, it's just so basically it's stop spamming, don't spray and pray, and you have to develop a strategy to it, okay, to make a plan. And one of the most important things, okay, I'm gonna load it up here. Okay, is you really need to discipline yourself into a plan, and this is something that Yen always espouses:
So
making a plan
if
and
you
having a
have, yeah, if you have a plan and you organize your week, it helps you a lot. And I think it's easier said than done, because a lot of us are wondering, well, why plan? Uh, But plan for those the be agile, in the face of ambiguity, and be flexible when something happens. So having a kind of a roadmap helps. But if what I want to do is to have you focus on the week and look at what you're doing during the week, and to not drop the ball at all. If you take your foot off the pedal, you're going to find that there's no momentum, and then your job search is going to stall.
Mhm.
So that's the gist of it.
But it gets tiring, right? I mean, if you focus on job search alone all day long, I guess what do you
Don't
recommend? I
do it
mean, how
all
many?
day. No, don't do it all day. So if you are in a hurry, then do an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and
Mhm.
then arrange your network sessions, and decide
Mhm.
whether or not to submit an application and talk to people.
Yeah.
If you're not in a hurry, and this is for those who are gainfully employed and are very happy,
Mhm.
then do one thing a week, just one item a week. And that one
Yeah.
item can be, oh, I want to lunch with so and so because I want to find out more about what's happening in that side of the business or that part
Yeah.
of the industry.
Yeah.
Good enough?
Yeah, fantastic. And I know one of the things is that you only have so many hours a day to focus on the job search. So, you focus on the right type of jobs that suit you, which means also at the right levels. Don't you might see something that's interesting, a huge job title, and say, "Oh, I always wanted that promotion, so I want to apply for the VP of sales, but I'm actually just now a junior sales manager." You might not get it, okay, because you might not be ready for it. And then when you don't get it, you start thinking, oh no, they don't want me. It must be something wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. It gets depressing. Or don't apply for jobs that may be too junior for you just because you think you're overpaid for it. So you need to have that strategy, the job search strategy, which is what Yen coaches during our Get Hired Faster boot camps, on having that strategy to map out the market for roles that are more suited for you, so you have a higher chance of landing. So you got to
Yeah.
focus on
And
jobs.
when you go online, and you're on LinkedIn and you're looking at all these job titles, and you're confused because the job titles sound the same, or how come there's the same job title but one is on a contract basis and one is a permanent full-time role? I don't get it. And the thing about job advertisements is that you don't know who wrote it, and you don't know how old it is, even though it's new, but it might be a repeat, it might be a refresh. I'm a very I take all that as like, this is smoke. It's a lot of smoke. Somewhere there's a
Yeah.
fire. That's why there's smoke. But your job is not to look at the smoke and try to make sense of that smoke. It's to go find out
Mm.
the cause. Find out the
Yeah.
cause of the smoke, and go talk to people and go, what's going on here?
What's
And
going
ask
on?
people
Yeah.
in the yeah,
Yeah.
ask
Because you
people in
never
the
know,
know what's going.
you might get some information that changes your opinion on the role anyway. So
I'm not a
it's
fan of job advertisements, and I find
yeah.
those tend to be embellished. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been there. We interview
Yeah.
for a job, and then when you land the job, it's like, hang on, this is not what I signed up for. So the
Mm.
job that you applied for, the job that you interview for, and the job that you eventually get, very different.
Yeah. So and ultimately, when you start working on the day itself, and you go, "Hey, wait a minute, this is, doesn't sound like the job in the JD that you sent me, right?" So it's all about staying focused. And what we're trying to say here is this: if you're in job search mode, if you're looking for a better role, okay, you have to go into job search mode. And job search mode involves a certain mindset. And when you're having that certain mindset, you want to have that plan, you want to dedicate time, you want to be disciplined enough to, like, I want to talk to 5 different people this week, okay, about this new role, about this new industry. I want to learn where the opportunities are, and where the jobs are, and where's the highest turnover, or what type of skills do they need in this place, and what skills do I need to succeed in this role. So you need to make a plan, need to stay focused on the research piece, and also only focus on jobs that you want. Okay, not jobs that you think that, hey, that would be interesting, and then you're basically diluting your effort. So what we're trying to say is that just be very razor focused on things, hit the targets that you have a strong chance to, because otherwise you're just gonna be all over the place.
Yeah, and submitting applications all over the place that you don't fit is not going to do your emotional status or mindset any good. So don't do
Yeah.
that to yourself.
Yeah, and also, it pisses off the recruiters as well. It's like, what, this guy again? No, yet, have you ever had an experience of the same person applying for different type of
Yes,
roles?
yes. And I've been
Any
on the
ridiculous
receiving
guy?
end. Yeah, receiving end behind the curtain, so to speak, and I would see the serial appliers. We call them serial appliers, not our frosted flakes in the morning for breakfast. It's the kind the kind that don't
Uh,
stop. So
Funny.
yeah, I'll see the name, and then my favorite keys on
That
my
guy
keyboard
again.
is shift arrow and delete.
Oh,
Because it's the same person applying for every single job, because it's easy to
yeah,
click on the apply
yeah.
button.
That's annoying, right?
We
Yeah,
will see the same names over and over again. And if we already
yeah.
have you on file, we have you on file, and then we'll make a note that the person's been applying for every single job that I've advertised. Something's wrong.
Mm, mhm. So, and one of the most important thing is to talk to people. Okay, you need to network. I don't want to use the word network. Okay, because whenever you say you should network more, people get freaked out. Say, "Ah, but I hate networking." Just talk to people.
Yeah.
Who do you talk to? Yeah, who should you be talking to if you're in job search mode?
Anyone,
What
anyone.
what do you advise during your get hired faster workshops, which
Yeah.
have been proven very effective? Who do you talk to and what do you say?
You have to start somewhere. Okay,
Mhm.
so you start with warm contacts, as you have always also pointed out. For any networking, is to start with people you know, ex-bosses, ex-colleagues. That's always that's those are the warmest contacts you have, who are also professionally connected, so they know what's going on, and just ask them what's going on with the market. How's business? I've heard this. Is it going to be something that you have to worry about? Things like that. So who to speak with, warm contacts, what to say, ask about the business. Try not to immediately start by saying, do you have a job for me? Or is there an opening in your company?
So,
Because
and
that
that's
just
exactly
kind of,
what we have. And we have a question here. Someone asked that, if I talk to a lot of people, will my boss find out and will he think that I'm looking out for a job and will I get the sack if I network too
no, not at
much?
all. If your boss finds out you're networking and he asks you about it, you go like, yeah, I need to find out what my competitors are up to, and it makes me more effective in the work that I'm doing now here for you. Duh.
Yeah.
So did you hear that company A has done this and company B had done that? Now the boss knows that you are well networked, well connected, you know the business and the landscape, and that makes you
Mhm,
valuable. Plus, if he
mhm.
thinks that you're a flight risk, he might be more engaged to ensure that you are promoted or given
Yeah,
farmer
yeah.
projects.
You're
If
taking give
if you
more
meet your
love for you.
KPI.
Hey, but let me tell you a funny
Okay,
story, okay?
sure.
Let me tell you a funny story. When I was headhunting, and I had lunch with one of my old friends, old classmates, and his boss walked by, and his boss knew that I was a headhunter. Immediately after the lunch, his boss called him in and said, "Is everything okay or not? Is there anything you need? Is there anything?" He got a lot more extra love just because he had lunch with me, and saying, why, then my friend called me up and said, "Hey, I think my boss thinks I'm going to leave." I said, "Yeah, then you should buy me lunch. You should buy me lunch more often." It's so funny.
It's also the same when you're at work and then you kind of suddenly do a spring clean and your desk is very clean and the boss is going to go, is everything
Oh.
okay? Because why is your desk so clean? Um, and I think it's perfectly okay. So make it a habit to be seen going out and talking to people, because
Yeah.
again, networking and talking to people helps you be more effective in your own job as well. Regardless of what your function is, just knowing what other organizations are doing,
And
what the
there's nothing
best
wrong with
practices
networking, seriously, nothing wrong. Because
nothing at all.
don't tell me your
Everyone
bosses
does it.
don't network as well, right?
Everyone does it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
correct. Don't
course,
tell me your
I
bosses
want to do it.
don't.
I don't want you to do it because I want to keep you in your place. So don't
Yes.
be the doormat.
be a good boy, be a good girl, sit down and don't leave my company
Stay.
because I need you to stay, stay, yeah, good, sit down,
Yeah.
roll over. So I think it's very important if you're in job search mode, and a lot of people ask us, Adrian, Yen, what's the biggest activity that we can focus on that will move the needle in terms of thickening your pipelines and of opportunities? And the answer is always network like mad. Okay, talk to more people, find out what it is. But you're right, Yen. Don't go out begging for jobs.
Yeah.
Don't go out
It's
begging for
it's
jobs.
important to, yeah, don't. And if you're networking, the first question you're asking is there an opportunity in your company? It makes you become the tag and bag person.
Yeah,
You're still a job beggar. It reduces your
yeah.
bargaining power. Like, don't do
All
that.
the
Don't do.
Don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
do that. It's not good. So that's why one of the things we always say is network I met. What then do you say? Just tell them just be genuine. Just find out what's happening on your market. Where is anyone leaving? And what this was quite interesting, because 2 weeks back one of our clients was telling me that he was not really in job search mode, but he found out from a supplier that another company's boss is leaving. Rumor. So he asked me, what do I do with information like that? Because I actually could do that role. And I said, oh, by all means, start talking to the guy's boss or MD, in industry. Just you're not angling for the job. You're just reaching out and talking to them and getting on their radar. So if you're not out in the market, then you're not getting all these interesting bits of pieces of news that's going to end up being a role anyway.
Yeah. So the point here we're trying to make is that when you talk to people, you get on their radar, as you pointed out, Adrian. Getting on their radar is a much better way of being visible and noticed than having to apply for the role. When you submit an application, it's crowded. You're lost in the volume,
Yeah.
so you're not going to even get noticed, and it's nothing to
Mhm.
do with you at all. It's like having an audition with like 300 other actors. You're not going to get noticed. Your turn might never even come up because you've run out of time.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
the front door is crowded, but when you network, you're going in through the side door or the back
Mhm.
door where the people already know you. If
Or
your
you might be
supplier,
parachuted in
yeah,
right from the top. Not even
you
any
never
doors at
know,
all, right?
right?
You never know.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
one of the
that's a great one. Yeah.
one thing I always believe is this: when you're in job search mode, okay, you have to realize that you're actually in business development mode and you're selling yourself. And for the BD manager, or if you were a GM, and if your sales manager isn't talking to clients, isn't talking to the network, you're gonna fire the person anyway, right? So you must be constantly in business development mode. So talk to people.
Only if you're in a
Talk,
BD role.
no, but even
But
if
if
you're
you're in
not in a
HR,
Yeah, I know,
if
but
you're in
even if you're in
HR
HR
or your
and you're selling
quality,
yourself, so there's many things you can do,
yes.
right? And one of the things I think is very important is to stay positive, because if you're it, how long is a typical job search then? From scratch, from absolute.
Depending on seniority, the average is 4 to 6 weeks, which
Mhm.
is given all conditions being staying equal. But there's
Perfect.
also there will always be 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Occasionally, it might take a bit longer because the market is slower
And
or
sometimes the
it's
process on
Christmas
the client
season.
side takes longer as well. They want
It's
to
a
meet
Christmas
you.
season, right?
Yeah, sometimes they want you to meet the
Or
boss. The
maybe
boss is traveling, so it
or
does take
maybe you're
time,
more
right?
senior. If
Yeah,
you're a little bit older, then it will take a little bit longer sometimes
yeah.
if the roles are a little bit more strategic, and then
Mhm.
they require you to travel to get interviewed. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's my answer.
nice. And a lot of times the control of the timing is not in your control, because sometimes, as a headhunter, I can tell all our clients out there that it takes 2 to 3 weeks for retained search. If you're senior enough, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to come up with a name and to interview, to comb the whole market. And then after that, the clients take their own time to interview. So I had this client once who told me that in January, he said, "Look, we need this place, this person, these 3 people very urgently. I want you to give me the list of names within 5-6 working days." I said, "No, we can't do that. It's a retained search. It takes much longer than that." He said, "No, we demand, we insist." So we crammed and we had a whole nice name list, about 9 candidates for him to interview. They saw the name list, they loved it. They said, "Okay, great. We'll interview them in May when we're in Singapore." So you just rushed me to give me the whole candidate list. And it's like in May, these guys won't be available anymore. You see, so
It's a hurry up and wait.
yeah,
Hurry
hurry up
up
and
and wait.
wait. I like that. Hurry up and wait. So
That's
ultimately,
ridiculous.
you have to be patient. Sometimes the wait is not in your control, so you have to be patient. Sometimes these things take time, and especially if you're a senior person, you may
Yeah.
not. How many roles are there out there? So you have to wait for someone to resign, retire, or just. Or, I was going to say drop dead, but let's hope not. But it's sometimes you just have to wait for the opportunity to pop up, and it's not in your control. So you got to be patient. It takes time. The more senior you are, the longer it might take. 4 months, 6 months, even. Okay, but in the meantime, you have to stay positive because you'll get many no's before you get a yes.
What's the longest role? that it- What's the longest time it took you to fill a role?
As a
The longest
headhunter,
ever. Yeah, as a
the longest
recruiter.
the longest ever was 9 months. Okay,
9 months.
because they had a change of strategy, and then they had a change of CEO. So yeah, we actually billed them 1.5 times the fee because it was basically 3 searches. So
But
for the same role,
but at the end of the candidate that you eventually placed, how long was his cycle?
oh, he waited about 6 months. Yeah, so he came up on the second cycle of on the candidate
Mm-hmm.
second candidate slate after they changed the job description, the
Specs.
role, the specs. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's very retain search, especially the senior level searches, even for contingency searches. If it's a senior level search, a lot of times it gets very technical. So if it changes, then you got to change, got to go with the flow. But as I said, a lot of times it's not in your control. You want things to happen faster, but it's like growing. Waiting, like I'm the gardener, so it's like right now I'm planting pumpkins and I'm saying, oh, I wish I had pumpkins tomorrow, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So you
right.
just
It
gotta
takes
wait.
time for something to. It takes time for something to
Yeah,
to ripen, if anything. Yeah.
yeah,
Personally, the longest search I had to do with the same candidate, they danced around each other for 8 months.
Oh wow, okay.
Same candidate, they danced around each other for 8 months before crossing the finish line.
Why?
So they wanted to map the market properly. They wanted to make sure they weren't overpaying. The candidate was perfect, but it was expensive, and
Mm.
they were looking for an alternative. They couldn't find anyone. That means the role was not clear, or they weren't aware because the budget did not meet what the market had. So there you go. 8 months,
What's the fastest you've had?
3 days, 3 days. I sent, so it's a candidate I already know. Okay. I sent the profile in on day one. Day two was the interview. Day three was the offer. Day three
Wow.
was third round interview. So they had 2 to 3 interviews in the space of 2 days, and then they made an offer. Of
Wow.
course, we had to take time to sign it, but that was a 3-day
Of
thing.
course,
It was
somebody
it was
offer.
happy. It was one of those like, whoa, gosh, this is great. Hardly any effort on my part.
Mine was interesting. Mine was a C level role. Okay, C level roles normally take a very long time, right? So this was a
Yeah.
Korean client. So Korean technology client. You probably know which one. And I presented the candidate on a Wednesday afternoon. Thursday morning, they say, "Hey, can we fly your candidate up tomorrow to Korea, to Seoul?" And
Without
okay,
even
fine. So
having a phone call?
no. They met the client already on the Friday. They interviewed the client. The Singapore CEO interviewed the client on a Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, I see.
Next morning,
Okay.
they love him. They said, okay, can you fly up to Korea to meet the chairman and the board and everything? Okay. And they flew up over the weekend. They had meetings. Monday, the offer was ready. So sometimes it just happens. It's serendipitous. Oh, I love that word, serendipitous. But don't ask me how to spell it because I
But
can't remember how to spell.
also your branding, right? So if your branding is sound,
Yeah,
your reputation is there, you come highly referred,
yeah,
you have all the right ducks in
yeah,
the right rows, and yeah, it
yeah.
could happen.
It just
Yeah.
happens. Right? So it's wonderful. So that's why, you never know what could happen. And what we always say is this: many no's before a yes, but all you need is that one yes. All you need is one
Yeah, but
yes, and
again, please don't don't just plan for the wedding, okay? Plan for the whole marriage. So you need the one, yes, but then you got to still put in the work, okay? So again, I'm going
Yeah.
to segue very quickly
No,
into your career development, your career management for the long run,
oh
being
yes.
agile, managing up well, and so
Mhm.
having mastery over your career. Please don't just land, but yes, think positive for now.
Yeah, and that's why after you've landed, what our clients do is they come to us for a career mastery program where we teach you how to manage the new role, how to be successful in your career even after you landed the job. So it's not all about job search. Job search is just one element of your career, and it's just one tool in your toolkit. Okay, and of
Yeah,
course, the biggest thing which I always say, which is really really important if you want to speed up the search for your new role, is to get help, get expert help. Okay,
yeah.
it's one thing to go at it on your own. Yeah, sure, but for every month that you slow down and delay because you're not getting the expert help that you need, you're actually especially if you're out of a job now and you're looking for a role.
Oh dear, Adrian, I think your connection is very bad.
Did I
Delay in
just
your
get cut
job
off?
search, you lose momentum, and
Yep,
losing
I'm
momentum
here.
might
So
reduce your
anyway,
return on
I'm
investment. So
for every month
think
delay.
about it.
It got cut off. Yeah, for every month delay that you get cut off from the market. Okay, it's 1 month salary gone. Okay,
Yes,
so I would actually say, get help. Talk to the career experts. Come talk to us because
but I
we have been
also,
doing it for this time.
Adrian, I'm just going to interject here.
Yeah,
Again, no obligations, guys. Be prepared to work hard. So if you do come to us for advice, we help you to identify your blind spots. I I'm not going to beat around the bush. We'll be very direct with what your blind spots are potentially. And you can tell that there are many contextual situations. There might be characters that might, within your
mm,
ecosystem that may want to make life very difficult for you. So there are many, many other situations. And
yeah,
if you have any questions, you should talk to the experts. But again, I'm not hard selling.
yeah.
So
We're not
I'm
hard
trying
selling.
not to work. I'm trying not to work too hard.
and,
Um,
and Roger, it's an interesting question. Okay, what's your opinion on sharing with the hirer or hiring manager that you are looking at other options? Will it
Always.
influence the speed of their decision making, or will it backfire on you? What do you
It
think, Em?
depends. It depends because if you are very near the finishing line, it is something that you can do to perhaps,
Nudge, right?
yeah, just to push
Nudge
them
them.
a little bit.
Mm.
But if you're coming across, again, depending on how you convey this message, if you're coming across as a little bit hard to get, then it might backfire. So it really depends on the situation. I'm sorry, I can't give you an actual answer. Sometimes at the finishing line, I tell my clients to, just contact the recruiter and say, hey, by the way, I have to make a decision very soon because the other guy is rushing me, but I love you more. So that's my go-to answer. So please go tell the company that you want that you're very interested in them, but that you have to make a decision soon given your circumstances, blah blah blah, or whatever else that fits your narrative, and then see if you can light a fire,
Mhm.
light a fire under their legs.
I think it's a fair question to fair
Very
comment.
dangerous.
Yeah, it's a dangerous question, but it's a fair, especially if the other side has been dragging their feet 2 weeks,
Yes,
3 weeks, 4 weeks
but
after.
maybe they're not that keen.
Yeah, so
If they're not
it's
that keen, and you tell them, hey, I got to make a decision, they tell you, oh, okay, go ahead.
and then there you got your answer, haven't you?
That's true. At least you get an answer, don't you? Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
and rather than leave hanging on, no, there's some closure involved rather than just go like, hey, will he, won't he, kind of thing. So I think it's important that they play it straight, but sometimes they don't. And I really don't want to sound like a horrible person, but the truth is, if they love you, they will have the offer out straight away for you already.
Yeah,
A lot of time.
yeah.
Okay.
Or they would have told you, please bear with us. We are definitely working on it.
Yeah.
Please let us know if anything's happening on your side. So then it's a bona fide delay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think, otherwise, if they keep you hanging,
something else is going on.
typically something else is going on. Okay, I don't want to burst your bubble. Okay, but from our own headhunting experience, they're probably just waiting for the first candidate to sign.
Yeah,
And if
or
anything
reject.
goes wrong, then you're or reject, and then you're number two. Okay, So
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. But no, we could be wrong. Okay, there are 1,001 reasons why. So we don't want to say that that's the answer.
Yeah,
But you're
there are
right.
all sorts of reasons. There are all sorts of reasons. One time I was talking to someone and they're wondering why the company didn't get back to them. And I said, well, maybe someone's in hospital, maybe they're sick. Sure enough, apparently both mothers on both sides of their relatives were all in hospital and very sick, and something else happened. And I'm like, see,
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go. So
Sometimes,
just
right?
give it a
Sometimes.
week, sometimes.
Yeah, but
So
but
give it give it some time.
it's a good nudge if you really come to the end of it and you really want to say, okay, let's tell me whether it's on or off. Okay,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
At least, come on, don't
yeah
leave me hanging. Yeah.
yeah don't leave me hanging on. Isn't it a song? Okay, I'm not gonna sing.
Yes, it's an 80s song. Tells you our age.
And
Yeah.
just come talk to us, because ultimately what we always believe is that advice helps, and good advice will expedite your process and make it less painful. So come talk to us, because we have our what we call our career partner program, where we talk to people who are in need of guidance and career clarity. And that's why ultimately, what we always say is that you don't have to go at it alone. Yeah, come talk to us. We are more than happy to share our experiences with you. And if you found this session, the past half an hour odd useful, well, we have more personalized advice for you. So just come talk to us. We're always very happy to be around to give you a
Yes,
good.
info at careeragility.org.
Yeah, we've been running this business for the past 5 years already. It's been a while, Yan.
Yeah, this is a good retirement job for me anyway. So it's been great working with you because I think we can just do this on our own time.
Yeah, and it's fun, and we love it. And the
You
people we
know,
help so many people.
yeah,
They
yeah,
mm,
yeah.
yeah, it's so cool. But careers are very important to us. That's what I always say. And as long as you want to continue working, okay, you must have that career strategy. You must have various career strategies.
It's a
Uh,
game. Yeah,
it's
it's
a game.
game strategies.
Yeah. And for any game, if you want to play professionally, you need a coach. Okay, someone
Yes.
who's been there, who's done that, someone who can see things that you can't see, someone who's done things that you haven't done yet, or someone who can put you in contact with someone who's already done what you want to do. So that's really important, because our alumni is 400 strong. Okay, and it's amazing. All our old clients are how they're helping each other. So any questions, just drop us an email, info@careeragility.org. Always happy to have the discussion with you.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And one of the things I wanted to let our viewers know as well is that for those of you who are listening to me on the radio, we've switched over the stations from 91.3 FM in Singapore to Kiss 92 FM. So if you're wondering, hey, Adrian disappeared off the screen, off the radio, off the air on 913, we are now on Kiss 92 FM. Okay, bigger station, bigger listeners, and more exciting topics coming up as well.
Listeners.
Bigger listener of a bigger listener base. Okay, it's
There
almost
you
close
go.
to it's huge. But we want to say have a great weekend ahead.
Take
And if
care.
any questions, just drop us an email. Have a great one, guys. Take care. Bye.